Hey everyone, it's Donna. Last spring, I was commissioned by one of my clients to do a swimwear photo shoot in Oahu, Hawaii. Now, I had never been there before, but I did have my pilot's license, so I decided that renting a small plane to do some location scouting myself might be a good idea. Even though I'm back in the office now, I'm excited to share this footage with you and take you on a journey above one of the most beautiful places on Earth. So sit back, relax, and enjoy my Hawaii adventure. Hi, I'm Donna, a photographer based out of Montreal, Canada. In 2020, while the whole world was on pause, I decided I would pursue one of my lifelong goals of becoming a pilot. Follow my adventures as I fly around Canada and beyond. We set off from Honolulu Airport first thing in the morning. I had offered the crew to come with me, but everyone decided to stay at the hotel and sleep. Not that I can blame them, but I was really determined on getting this done. So I hopped into the Uber and headed to my adventure. While I was back in Montreal researching what flight school to use, I found one that had a Piper Cherokee 140 just like the one I have back home. I'm usually the one who's always down to try something new, but I figured maybe sticking to something familiar might be a better idea. However, this plane and my plane did have a small difference, and that was that the right side yoke didn't have a push-to-talk button. That's why you'll see me sitting on the right, which is usually the second-in-command position. Well, you know what? That's okay, since I didn't have my FAA license conversion, so I wasn't allowed to be PIC in an American-registered airplane anyways. And since I was planning on spending a lot of time looking out the window, I didn't want to feel responsible for the comms either. So that's where Keolani comes in. He's an instructor at Pacific Flight Academy, where I had rented the plane, and he also served as a great tour guide. Oahu isn't a big island by any means, but we still needed a plan of action. After doing some research back home, I noticed that all the nicer beaches were on the North Shore. So we planned to fly directly north and then follow the coast all the way to the east and then back down to the south to Honolulu. I'm happy to say that all the research I'd done paid off. These beaches were truly breathtaking. As we were flying over them, Keolani pointed out the nicer ones and how to access them, and I wrote everything down to refer to later when it was time to plan my locations. And the great thing too is that everything seemed really easy to access from the main road. And here's the part where I ask you to click the like button if you're enjoying the video, and if you're really enjoying it, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It really helps grow this channel, and it lets me know if I'm on the right track. Soon we got to Turtle Bay, and Keolani took the controls while we circled so that I could capture some nice images. It was an amazing sight, and I left myself a little note on where and how to access it. It suddenly dawned on me that I now had too many amazing locations to choose from, and I would have some tough choices ahead. Our schedule only allowed for one full day on the North Shore, and constant location jumping wasn't an option. It takes just way too much time to move the whole crew around. But in the grand scheme of things, too many options is better than not enough, and I welcome having to make that decision. With all the location scouting done, we decided to head back towards Honolulu following the coast. But little did I know, I still had one last epic location to see. Now, if you're a movie buff just like me, you should instantly recognize this location. Ko'aloa Ranch has been featured in more films than I can count, but is probably better known for Jurassic Park. And if you look quite carefully down by the trees, you might spot a Triceratops. Just kidding. And if you pause the video to take a look, leave a comment below so that I know that I got you. At this point, the flight was almost over, but we still had to enter the Class B airspace in which the airport was located. I had never experienced this before, but we were told that they were too busy to let us in right now. I just figured they were too busy with arrivals or something, but it turns out it was something a lot cooler. More on this later. So we were forced to circle around and wait a good 15-20 minutes until we received our clearance. But you know what? I can think of a lot of worse things than having to soar over paradise for a few extra minutes. We finally got our clearance and we headed back to Honolulu International Airport. From the sky, this airport is massive. It makes our Montreal International Airport look like a regional airport. The main runway used by the airliners and the big planes is on its own island. And even though it's a civilian airport, it's connected to an Air Force base and they share the runways with them. As I was turning base, the controller had me switch from runway 4 right to 4 left. I guess having to land the plane from the right seat for the very first time wasn't enough of a challenge, and I needed some extra spice. Landing from the right seat wasn't that much different after all once I wrapped my head around using my left hand for the throttle. Oh yeah, and remember when I talked about being delayed into the Bravo for some arrival traffic? Well, turns out it was something a lot more interesting than that. As we taxied back after landing, we got treated to a few F-35 fighters doing some steep climb takeoffs. Luckily, I managed to capture one of them while we were holding short. And with that, my mission was complete. I had found my locations and taken in some of the sights that Hawaii had to offer. It was my first experience with renting a plane while traveling, but it certainly won't be my last. If you're ever in Honolulu, I suggest checking out Pacific Flight Academy. This isn't a sponsored video by any means, but their service was top-notch, so that deserves a shout-out. And lastly, big thank you to Kiolani. You don't know how much you helped me out with my shoot, and I'm really grateful. Well, that's it for this one. We'll see you soon, and fly safe.